Think you need alcohol inks to get those gorgeous flowing backgrounds? Nope. I'm going to show you how to get the look with dye inks. Let's get crafting. The best part is you probably have everything you need. Today I'm using some Distress ink and Catherine Pooler inks. They're both dye inks. Some acrylic blocks. Now I've got multiple acrylic blocks here, different shapes, different sizes. Most of mine are dirty with glue, and that's okay. It adds to the charm. A spray bottle filled with just plain old tap water, and my secret weapon is photo paper. Traditional alcohol inked backgrounds require a special kind of paper. It's more of a plastic. It's called Yupo paper, and it tends to be fairly expensive. Even if you get the craft plastic, it's still expensive. You probably have everything you need for this technique, and you probably are sitting on some old 4x6-inch photo paper, and that's exactly what I'm using. So I'm just using a piece of that glossy photo cardstock, and I'm going to use my large acrylic block because it nearly covers the entire piece. Now I'm going to use my Distress inks here. This first one is Seedless Preserves, and I'm just laying a good quantity of ink across my acrylic block. No rhyme, no reason, just smush it on. The next one is Picked Raspberry. Now I'm being careful not to contaminate my ink pads by running the lines together. The water will help with that. And this last color is Mowed Lawn. Now I've gone ahead and added to the top because I think this whole acrylic block will cover that whole thing. You can add as much or as little water as you like. I'm leaving some splotchiness. I thought that would add interest. Now I suggest that you have a piece of paper towel handy to clean up any spills or splotches, and I've just picked up my acrylic block, flipped it over, and plopped it on top of my photo paper. Now I just let the acrylic block sit, and sometimes I move it around if I have additional ink left on my block, which doesn't really happen too often. Most of the ink does come off if it's made contact with the photo paper. And you have to admit, it left a pretty cool impression. You do have to set these aside to dry. They don't take very long. I'm going to do quite a few, so I just set them on top of my cutting board for later. And I wipe off my acrylic block. This time I'm going to use Catherine Pooler inks. Now, if you've been around my channel for a while, you know I am dyed-in-the-wool Distress Oxide girl. But I just had to find out what all the hype was about. Y'all, these inks are amazing. I am definitely seeing the value here. I love the sponge applicator. I'm using a couple. I only bought 4, and I bought a red, a yellow, a green, and a blue. The red is super vibrant. I've sprayed this down. This time I've added quite a bit of water to kind of maybe pull that back a little. Set it down on my photo paper. Give it a little squish to get some of those inks moving, but you could just leave well enough alone. It's really up to you. In this case, there's a fairly large area that was left uninked. So I'm just going to kind of grab my paper towel here, move some of that wet ink around because I did add a lot more water to this one because I wanted to get more of a flowy background rather than a splotchy background. Give my ink block or my acrylic block a good wipe with my paper towel, and we're gonna, I think I choose a different acrylic block now, something smaller. Yes, I do. And really the only reason, you can use one acrylic block if that's all you've got, but I just figured it was easier to handle. That way I could put it exactly where I wanted. I added the blue again, and I think this one's called Oh Boy. And I'm just using it kind of in a stamping fashion at this point to kind of move that color around. After wiping off that smaller acrylic block, I'm going to continue to move that ink around and sop up anything that I didn't like the puddles of. You could leave them to dry like that, but I was trying to get these to dry fast. I want to cover up the rest of the white spot, so I'm going to add some more of this limoncello. I haven't really experimented too much to see whether or not I like the ink blend that I get with the Catherine Pooler inks, but the colors are divine, and they are definitely inky goodness. Hey y'all, this is Wendy from Village Card and Craft, and I want to thank you for choosing to spend your time with me today. Well, 3 years ago, almost to the day, I was pushing for my very first YouTube goal, and that was 100 subscribers. And 3 years later, you all have amazed me because I just hit 25,000 subscribers, and I can't thank you enough. If you want to reach out to me, please do so in an email or on my Facebook business page at Village Card and Craft. If you DM me, I'm really not able to see that. I prefer to get something in email. I have had problems recently, but I think we've got those cleared up with the email service. And I apologize if you have sent me an email and I haven't seen it, because I can't even tell you where it was sending it to. It's been amazing. So I recently just found over 500 emails that I hadn't even looked at that were hidden. So if you would like to send me some of your crafty creations, you're welcome to do so. I'll leave my P.O. box linked down below as well. And if you just want to check out some of the supplies that I used, I will leave those in the description box too. This technique, you probably have everything that you need, and but sometimes people want to see just those little things right up close, and that's okay too. Okay, with that set aside, I've got a new fresh piece of photo card, and I'm going to use a small acrylic block because this time I want to do some splotchy backgrounds. So I'm just adding some seedless preserves and a little bit of water, and I'm just going to use it as a stamp and kind of move it around until I don't have any ink anymore. I'm going to speed this up a little bit because nothing here really changes, but I want you to see how the look changes. Now you could certainly change up the size or acrylic block that you're using. You could use your glass mat if you wanted to. If you didn't have acrylic blocks, that would work just as well. It just has to be something that's not porous because you don't want it to absorb the dye ink. You want that ink to end up on your photo paper. Now I've added some more limoncello to this one because I kind of wanted to brighten it up a little bit. And you're probably thinking, what the heck do I do with this now? So hang with me. I'm going to show some finished cards to you, and I'm going to show you something else you can do. Now, once these panels are finished, you can use them in any variety of ways. For this one, I didn't particularly care for the background, so I'm going to use some Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm just inking up a Hero Arts Magnolia Floral stamp. Now, I do have it in my stamp positioner, but I'm not using it as a stamp positioner. I'm just using it for the mat that's inside because I want to get a good stamped impression. I'm loading up my stamp with the Memento ink, and we're going to go ahead and plop that down. Well, you see why it doesn't work with the stamp positioner. Everything sticks to it. So you just want to be careful that you just set it down and then give it a firm press. You don't want to kind of wiggle it or anything like that because it will slide across the cardstock or the photo paper and create a mess. So as you can see, it's going to stick really well. I'm going to have to peel it up from the stamp, but that's okay. It doesn't do it any damage. And look at the beautiful stamped image we have here. Now, it is stunning. I don't have a die cut for this, so I'm going to fussy cut it. I tried using my brother's Scan and Cut, but because of the background, it really didn't work. So I did fussy cut these. The other thing that I tried to use, well, I used archival ink. I used StazOn. I've got some examples. StazOn probably worked the best for solid images because it's designed for plastic, and this cardstock has a plastic coating on it. The archival ink did work, but took forever to dry, like a day. And I don't have that kind of time. So the dye inks, they worked great. Not going to lie. I'm going to show this to you with Distress. This one is Black Soot, same stamp. Let me take it out of the stamp positioner and bring it up close. Come on. That is gorgeous. Now let's use it on a card. Now this is a solid stamp that I applied with StazOn, and I love it. This next one, I used the archival ink, and it works, but it took a long time to dry. You can die cut these. This is one of those green panels, die cut into a sunflower, and of course our stamped fussy cut images. Now don't go just yet because I've picked out some videos just for you. Until next time, I'll see you real soon.